everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you've never subscribed, please consider doing so. And don't forget to hit that little bell button, because then it'll notify you whenever I upload new content. I also have links in the info below to my Twitter and my Instagram, and please consider following me there too. I do post on a nearly daily basis about what's going on in my life, especially on my Twitter. And this week what's been going on is my son. He came to visit me and we had a fantastic time, which is why I'm putting out this video kind of late, because when he's here, nothing else matters. And to be honest, when he leaves, nothing else matters either. And I just dropped him off at the airport, so I'm feeling particularly vulnerable right now. I try to keep my channel to the more positive aspects of transition and being transgender, but there are some definite and very distinct disadvantages as well. And in my life, I don't think anything summarizes the negatives any better than my son. And yes, I love him and I know he loves me, but the distance it has created in our relationship and how it has changed our relationship is definitely not something that I think of as a positive. There are so many things I regret for my transition, so many mistakes I made, and he's at the very top of that list. I don't regret having him for 1 second, but I regret what it meant for his life. And if I'm being brutally honest, I spent a lot of my time suppressing how I feel about him. I fall back on old habits that I used to survive as a transgender person growing up in a time when being transgender wasn't something that seemed even possible. And I use it now to survive loving somebody so much that it hurts. But also knowing that you can't be there for them the way you really want to be. Or maybe that they want you to be for them. I would never tell somebody not to transition if they're transgender. But as you can imagine, I get contacted quite a lot by people who happen across my videos. They call me brave and they look up to me and they say all sorts of incredibly nice things. And sometimes they say that I've inspired them to transition. And I can feel the excitement just leaping off the words on the screen. They've suddenly discovered this great truth about themselves. And often it is scary. And they want advice and they want me to hold them by the hand, but that's something I just can't do for them. Everybody's journey is different. And I would be spread way too thin if I were to do that personally for everybody. And as great as these messages are, as inspiring as they are to me, I often feel kind of ambivalent about the entire thing. I mean, we have to be who we are authentically. And once you've discovered that about yourself, there's no going back. But they tell me their life stories and their circumstances. Things like they're married and they have kids and they have these jobs. And when I write them back, I write nothing but positive things. I tell them congratulations. And I might point them in the right direction of taking the first steps. But it causes me to be very reflective and look back on my own life and think about all the trials and tribulations I've had to go through to get to here. And I am scared. I am so scared for them, because who knows what the future holds. Perhaps it is an incredible transition. Perhaps they don't lose any friends. I pray that they don't have any trouble with their families, that everybody accepts them. And I pray that their spouses will stay with them and everything will be great and everything will be just blue skies and sunshine ahead. But in my heart of hearts, I know that that's not going to be the case. I know very few older transitioners who don't lose anything. In fact, I don't know any older transitioners who didn't lose some vital part of their current life. But I can't tell them that. I don't want to dampen their enthusiasm. And being anything less than totally encouraging seems just incredibly cruel. I always recommend some professional help, whether it be a therapist or a support group, because I know that there is going to be pain, tremendous amounts of pain in their future. And it's a pain that I still deal with myself even 8 years later. Today happens to be the anniversary of the day I came out to my ex-wife. I remember what it feels like to be in that place, but I also remember what it felt like to have my entire life unravel, to lose your dad, your wife, your job, your home, all in the space of about 6 months, and then be forced to move to some place where you virtually know nobody because you don't have enough money to support yourself anywhere else. And that someplace happens to be 900 miles away from your son. I remember that last time we spent together as a family, January 16, 2011. We decided to go to our favorite restaurant, which happened to be the restaurant we went to the night I proposed. The three of us and our immediate family were there, as well as my sister, because she was going to take charge of driving me to Florida. I really didn't think I'd be in the state of mind to drive myself halfway across the country. And I also wanted somebody in the car in case I just kind of gave in to temptation, or perhaps something better to call it would be fear. We all sat there and we ate, and we went out to the parking lot afterwards. And I still remember my son, all of 8, being in his seat in the minivan while I hugged my ex goodbye and said goodbye to him. I remember him crying, "No, no, don't go." I remember the pain of that separation like it happened today, because it did happen today, and every day that I'm separated from my son, because that pain repeats over and over and over again. It's so bad that every time I see him, all I can think about is the pain of what's going to be at the end of our visit. I fully expect that there are people back where my son lives who think that I'm just like off in Florida, living this fantastic life without a care in the world and no thought as to how my son is doing back home. When really what I'm doing is spending all my time trying to distract myself from the pain, or carefully not think of certain thoughts
that I know will just break me down instantly. Because any thought of my son and how much I love him, and I love him so much, if I wanted to, could send me into instant hysterics. Thinking about how far away he is and how I haven't seen him in so long, that he calls somebody else dad now, and how many days of loneliness I have ahead of me. I don't have a special somebody or any other kids, and yet I persist. And I make my little videos, and I try to make things a little less lonely for somebody like me out there. And judging from the response I get, I think that message is connecting. So I'm not going to stop. But there will be days like these, and there will be weeks maybe where I don't make a video, because sometimes I need to take care of me too, and show myself a little love so I can survive another day. It's little things you miss. It's taking my son to football practice, going out together as a family to eat, the anticipation of Christmas morning with an entire family in your house. And sometimes these little visits from my son almost feel worse than not having him at all, because they remind me of what I had and I lost, and I will never get back again, and that is very, very hard to live with. So yeah, being transgender sometimes can suck, and divorce sucks, but I really can't be any other way. I hope I didn't scare the shit out of too many of you. Because there are definite positives to being transgender as well. It's just that right now, on this day, I'm struggling with the negatives. Tomorrow's another day full of new hope and new possibility. And my life is better today than it was on that day that I left. And I know I will see my son again in a not too distant future. And maybe one day I have hope I can be a bigger part of his life again. On that note, like, share, and subscribe, and see you around the interwebs.